from my vacay. It was nice, it was lovely, but I'm glad to be filming again. You ever notice when you like go on break for a little while and you're just like, oh, I want to do the things. I want to do the things. So I figured today I did my first ever Samhain back in 2017. I decided to do a year reading for a lookout on what 2018 would be like. And so I figured now, and I did it from the Witch's New Year, so November starting it all the way till October. And so I figured I'd do a little bit of a review of what that was. I will pop up here, somewhere will be the photo of that spread all the way around. I got the spread off of the Wild Unknown Tarot, had this reading, and then the card in the middle is kind of the overall feeling of the year. So I'm going to review those cards now as the year has been completed and we are on now to 2018 into 2019 and see how accurate it was. Alright, so first card that came up was the Father of Cups for the month of November. I guess that would make a lot of sense. The whole idea of emotion, kind of this like the whole king of emotion in a sense, that big container of that feeling. That would apply well to my November, especially since it was the first time I felt a real rekindling of joy around that time, just because I knew about Wicca and the Wheel of the Year and these types of things. Just so I had a lot more joy and a lot more like feeling connected in general to the season and that time of the year in general. So yeah, I would say Father of Cups definitely applies. And then for December I had Mother of Cups, so more of the same, in a more diluted sense. Like I really got into the traditions around that time of the year and feeling connected emotionally specifically. Like, I don't know, there's sometimes you can go through the motions, you know what I mean, and you just don't feel that extra, like, I don't know, attachment. You feel like detached from everything. And I think this is the first time in quite a while that I felt a significant attachment to the time of the year that was the, you know, the American traditional holidays, you know, the whole time of like Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that coming around. I actually was finding ways to really iterate that in with my new spiritual practice, so it helped me reconnect with a lot of that time of the year. The next cup I had for the lovely January was the Four of Cups, and this one I did reverses and reversals because I felt pulled to use them. I've always kind of felt pulled to use reversals, even though some people do and some people don't. And then just very recently I'm like, you know what, actually I don't want to use reversals anymore and see what happens with that. And just, even if it does flip upside down, no matter what, like, reversals are a no-go for me. So, but this year I did it. So Four of Cups reversed. And that makes sense in a lot of ways because, I don't know, I feel like it was in January that I cemented a bunch of new plans. I finally realized what was missing out of my life, right? I was grateful for how far I had come, but realized that there was a huge amount of things that I was kind of letting drag me down that weren't going to be helpful to me at all. There were things that I was like holding on to feel like an adult, and instead of like accepting the fact that maybe you should let that go and appreciate the thing that might be over here, or realize this other section of what you actually had to do needed to happen. And so I feel like I kind of like in the month of January really woke up to the fact that, hey, there's this thing you're missing over here, and that is you need to be sacrificing more things in general, which I think maybe adds to the Four of Cups in a sense. The next one is the Four of Wands. Now, in the month of February, I moved. So I guess the wand, the action driving forward in a sense. So Four of Wands, is the time when I moved. I kind of just decided to make major sacrifices, like I said, in the month of January. And yeah, no, that definitely happened. I moved back in with my parents. I guess I had completed my first round of Youtober. I had done 12 days until Yule. I did a lot with my YouTube channel, which I think was probably a big completion. And I also had like, I refound my creativity during this time, which was funny. Like, I really was like gung-ho into like minimizing stuff, even though this hadn't applied to my craft quite yet, and into really taking the time and like sacrificing all of the things that really weren't bringing me much purpose anymore in my life, right? So I actually felt like really accomplished in that when I had decided to move, even though it was kind of like a weird starter. Like I could see where that Four of Wands completion idea, it was almost like, okay, I completed the one part of the journey and this is the final wrap up to that, and my decision to move and to kind of like close that chapter on my life was pretty good, I guess. And then we are on to March, which was the Three of Pentacles, which I could definitely see, because the idea of community and building things together, that type of thing in the Pentacles, right? Moving back in, I was conserving and using that with the help of my parents being able to, you know, let me live here with very little expenses towards them. That whole thing, like, that makes a lot of sense. I was also sacrificing a lot of things for monetary, like, long-term structure. Like, it felt like I was like building, like it was the first level of the foundation was now being led with a lack of spending of any sort of money, and really paying off debt and using the assistance that was granted to me with, you know, no overhead living costs to throw money at debt. That really, really helped. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then we have for April, I got Strength. Now, probably April was around the time, if I remember correctly, where I was searching hardcore for a patron. I think I was definitely deep diving in, really battling through some weird things to do with my thoughts on men and toxic masculinity and things of this nature. And maybe, and like there's a lot of dating and stuff I was doing too, that I was like drawing just all the wrong people towards me at this time. So it's interesting that I could see where Strength was something maybe I needed to play more into, but I don't know necessarily if I listened to the cards during that time. I think that was a very big piece of advice that I did not follow through on at all. It did not happen. Like, I was just kind of like, nah, 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 nah. And then we have the, let's see here, Six of Pentacles for the month of May. Now, the month of May was was when my sister was graduating from school. My best friend just got a new job offer. I was feeling very anxious to also get my life started, and I was feeling a bit resentful at the same time. So it's interesting. I don't know if I followed through on that one either, per se. You know what I mean? Like, just the overall advice or like where I should head for that time. Prosperity, growth, generosity. It was definitely a time of generosity, I'll tell you that much. Six of Pentacles indicates that your long-awaited fruits are being ready for harvesting, bringing more wealth than anticipated. Make sure you are generous during this bountiful time. This card can also signify generosity coming from someone else. If this is the case, accept the help with grace and put the resources to good use. I don't really feel like I had help from anybody else. I definitely felt a hint of inspiration, I guess, from other people, because there were, like, the people I care most about around me were succeeding in specifically career things, and that was helping me to really buckle down. I paid off a huge amount of debt by that time, so there's a little bit of accomplishment coming in with that. I remember just several cards were being paid off. I was making huge strides in that way, and I had just started like leaning more towards my savings. So that could be, I guess, a sense of that, right? And then let's see, on to June, and June was the Judgment card, and that makes a whole lot of sense. June was also my birthday month, and it was around the time where, again, my best friend had just decided to move back in May, and she was moving to another city in the Midwest, and she was pushing me to move there as well. And I thought, well, that's a consideration, even though I had always had my heart set on the Pacific Northwest. In the month of June, I decided to take a trip, specifically to go to Portland and explore and see if that might be a city that really went well with me. And at the end of the day, I did. I decided, I made a judgment call, which was, as much as I love my best friend, as much as it might be easier to move to a city where she is and have some more in-ground laden friendships of a really close nature, I wanted to take more of a risk, and that risk is, I think, worth it to me, right? Like, feeling into, instead of the logical side of me, and feeling into the intuition and listening to tarot cards and readings and my guides at this moment, that was a judgment call to do that. It was also around this time that I had accepted, I believe, the crocodile into my life a lot. Like, Sobek was definitely making a huge jolt. It was like right around the end of May, June, I think, when I finally had something click with the crocodile, if I remember correctly as well. So that was definitely like, oh, I felt things shifting, and I felt like I had to explore more, and I felt this new invigoration of energy. But it was definitely like a judgment call of knowing that, like, okay, I'm working with this deity. I want to move to the Pacific Northwest. Like, there were major judgment calls that even if I wasn't immediately on the path to doing them, right? It wasn't like, I'm picking up and moving today. It was more of a, no, but this is the path we are going down now, and that is affirmative, like no take backsies, like this is where I'm headed, period. And then let's see, for the month of July, which will be interesting because it was a really hard month for me, I had the Daughter of Cups reversed, or I guess it would be the Page of Cups reversed for another deck, and that makes sense. I was not emotionally in any kind of good place. All that's like, it's kind of like that sensitivity that comes along with that card. Easily wounded, easily emotionally put, like all the negative aspects in that card probably reared their ugly heads in the month of July. I was just, yeah. And I think too, during that time, I realized there was a struggle happening where things were not going to happen in the timeline that I wanted them to, because I finally got a taste of what I really wanted, which was the Pacific Northwest. And by making that decision, it was like, okay, great, let's go. And then realizing it was so far still in my future, like I thought possibly, given you'll see soon what's coming up, that I was like, oh, I think I'm going to be moving. Maybe the cards say in August. Like, this would be amazing if I could move in the month of August. And then it turned out that that was not going to happen, that was realistically probably not possible given my current financial standings and some of the goals I wanted to accomplish. So it was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then you need to accept that reality and that struggle. And there was a lot of crying, and like that was my wallow time. If you been keeping up with my videos for a while, I was definitely like, just like, I felt like all the stuff drained out of me. I didn't want to create anymore. I didn't want to make videos anymore. Thankfully I had enough to like kind of save up for a little while, because I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. I don't want to, I feel like I should be pushing further to make more strides, but I just feel like overly sensitive and just want to like and all that, right? Like it wasn't a vibe that worked well for me at all. And then let's go on to the month of August, which was the, oh come on phone, 8 of Wands. Movement, action, that type of deal. And it's after my thing of wallowing, I got my creative drive back in August. I felt a little more empowered in August. I was pushing myself in August. I felt way more driven in August. And my parents were really, really sweet, and my mom specifically, and she surprised me on a trip to Portland. My dad had a business trip that fell in Portland for a little while. He was there for work, and so I was like, oh, and he was like, oh, well, you can, like, you and your mother will fly out separate and come and like stay in my hotel room. It'll be cool, like whatever. And so we went and we checked out all the neighborhoods and stuff in Portland that I might possibly want to move to, and like just like looked at different areas, and it was like just so much fun to get another taste of the place I really wanted to go to. And it was just kind of further confirming it too, because the first time I'd ever been to the Pacific Northwest was for a business trip, and then the second time was when I went in June for with my sister to explore, and that kind of really confirmed, no, I think I want to give this place a try. And then just going back a third time on a random, checking out neighborhoods, seeing what's going on, possibility in a more serious manner really helped me to go, like I just like took in so much of the energy and was like, yeah, no, this is vibing real freaking well. Like it doesn't matter if like that day it was cold and rainy the whole time, because everyone keeps warning me about the damn rain. I live in a desert. All I want is rain. Leave me alone. I know I want rain. So like, yeah, I could definitely see where like movement happened. I took a random ass trip to go over there, but also it was like a movement of like I regained my ambition to make stuff happen in my life, right? So that makes sense. And then I had the 3 of Cups reversed for the month of September, which also makes a lot of sense. Because part of my realization that I was going to be moving and I wanted to put all of my effort into moving was the idea that I just withdrew from everybody. I definitely withdrew from way more, I would say, casual acquaintances that I have here in Phoenix. I definitely was questioning more of the relationships I had. Were they shallow? Were they more thorough? Were they deep, meaningful relationships, or were they not? I just wasn't going to spend my time or my money or any of these things on anything that wasn't deeply fulfilling to me anymore, relationship-wise. It just wasn't going to happen. So I stopped casually dating, and I was definitely looking for something a little more possibly serious. And even, I guess, friend dating in a sense. Like I wasn't going to hang out with people that I didn't feel connected to or really enjoy their company. You know, I wasn't going to hang out with people anymore just to hang out. and realized I was like, okay, well, if I do this and I become a bit of a hermit during this time, then that's fine, because one, it saves me money, so I can move, hopefully, to find more people and cool people I enjoy, and two, the people I do enjoy, I can spend more time with them, right? Like, I spent more time in classes about Wicca and tarot and the Cabal and all the astrology and all these things, so I was able to connect with other people who think that same way, which is great. And I became a bit of a hermit in some respects, but in other respects I was reaching out more to people that were, I feel, a deeper, better connection. So that one actually makes a lot of sense. And you know, you like look at it so far ahead and you're like, well, what the hell does that mean? Like, right? So, like, does that mean, like, I'm gonna get to Portland and, like, have no friends? Like, what does that mean? But, no, like, looking back at the year now, that does make a whole lot of sense. And then, finally, for the month of October, which had been last month, was the lovely, I think that's the 9 of Wands, if I remember correctly. No, it's this, I got the 6 of Wands for the month of October. So, victory, success, rising up, that whole kind of, like, accomplishment sense of something, which I think as of the end of October, I officially have enough money to, like, bare minimum money of what I could do to move, right? Like, it's all there, which feels like a huge accomplishment for me. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. I could, like, technically, if I got a job right now, I have enough money saved up to, like, put a down deposit on an apartment and, like, get a U-Haul and, like, do the whole move. Like, I could do it, which is a really great feeling. And now it's just, like, extra cream on top now, all the money I save up beyond that. So that definitely happened. And I also felt very fulfilled with, I don't know, connecting with people here on YouTube and some of my creative ways I've grown. Different creative projects I'm doing right now. Like, there's a lot of things that I kind of, like, I hit a major milestone, so that makes sense in the month of October. And I actually had a bit of a plan for Youtober, and, like, I don't know, it felt, this October felt, October to me always feels like such a comfy, cozy, like, just, like, it almost feels like the whole, like, energy of that month is just like, whoo, settle, enjoy, like, take this in for a minute, really just, ooh, like, savor this, take it in. And the fact that I had gotten so much done, and, like, looking back from the October when I did this reading for myself to see what my witch's year would look like, and knowing how much, like, I'm not where I kind of thought I would be when I did that draw, right? Like, I'm not living in a new city, I don't have a new job, but I have paid off a shit ton of debt, I have saved a bunch of money, and I've done a lot creatively with my own personal projects, so that is a pretty big accomplishment and stuff, right? So this year I did the same exact spread on the lovely Samhain. Only this time I used the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, and I didn't do any reversals, so that's interesting. So I might pop up what the reading looked like on my Instagram. Oh, and then the card that represent the entirety of that year last year, which was I think that's the 8 of Wands. That's maybe why I got it confused before. Alright, and so for my overall year card from the Witch's New Year of 2017 to 2018, I had 6 of Wands, 6 of Swords, reversed, which 6 of Wands is a card, 6 of Swords is a card indicating a recovery from difficult times. Hope is on the horizon, things will get better. It's important to rest, revitalize, surround yourself with joyful friends, plan a trip, short or long. Even getting out of town for the weekend will further lift your spirits. And it definitely was a bit of that, right? But I think the reason it was reversed in that particular spread makes a lot of sense, because I fought so much of that year of the building and, like, the patience that I had to have, knowing that's like, hey, long-term things take time, and knowing that, and knowing I couldn't just jump and get the thing I wanted, couldn't make the major change right when I wanted, I had to be financially responsible about it and all that. Definitely, like, I could see where, yeah, I lost hope a lot of times that past year, even though I gained so much with really diving even more into my craft and diving more into the holidays and magic and deities. And when I did that spread, I only was devoted to Persephone, and then I added Loki and Sobek into the deities that I talk to on the regular basis. I reconnected with the spirit that I work with. You know, there's so many things that I did, and it felt really great, and it gave me a new hope. But I also fought that so many times that I felt like I lost hope a lot of times. I was like doing this constant up and down, right? Which is what led me to finally exploring astrology, to be like, why is that? Where do I need to focus to fix a bit? So that is really, really interesting. And that was kind of like warning me that, like, I mean, the hope is there, but you seem to flip it on its head and not really pay attention to it the whole freaking year, which is very true, unfortunately. So yeah, I will pop up on my Instagram if y'all are interested what my reading was for this next year that I just did on Samhain 2018. And comment down below, did you do a year ahead reading? Do you do tarot readings to kind of look into the future to give a bit of an idea of what you did, of what might work for you? Different advice that you could get from the universe or your guides, etc. and so forth, to see what could be pulled forward for you to focus on a little bit as you go forward. I really like the 1 month, a card for every month, because it kind of just reminds me when I get off track or I am a little, I don't know, out of sorts or not really understanding why things are happening. I like going back to that one card and going, okay, there's an overall theme for this month. Are you paying attention to that theme? Is this theme warning you of something? Like that, I think that really helps quite a bit. So I was all for that, especially because I don't know why, but I can overthink the daily cards to such a huge extent. Like I go on and off again with daily draws just because of that. So the 1 month really helps, yeah. Anyway, I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I will see you guys next time.